If we're talking about the vibration of 250, which is neutrality, this is actually one of my favorites because it is the ending of duality. Like I said before, neutrality is the entrance to the third gateway, meaning life happens through me. An argument can only continue if two parties are giving and receiving the same energy. If my mom's yelling at me and I'm yelling back, we can keep arguing. But if someone is yelling at me or my mom's yelling at me and I'm peaceful, I'm calm, I'm smiling, I'm positive, they cannot possibly continue to yell at me because my energy is, I'm not giving them energy back. I'm not giving them fuel. The same thing with fear, the same thing with ego. Ego is predicated on force. Ego is predicated on them enforcing their perception of themselves onto you. It is force, it's not power. Force needs counterforce. If we think about a car that's braking, right? If you're driving in a car and it brakes, the force is going to continue forward. That's why we wear seatbelts. Power stands still while force tries to move. That's the thing. So people who vibrate at neutrality at 250 are not interested in competition. They're not interested in one-ups. They're not interested in this concept of good and bad, looking at the world as black and white. Like I'm saying, the concept of opposites. These people are interested in the well-being of other individuals. It is not, I win, so therefore you lose. It's why can't we both win? This 250 is kind of the beginning of this oneness framework, where you break away from the concept of opposites. The vibration of 250 is where the seeds of abundance are planted. Like I'm saying, you are happy, you are abundant. It's not, oh, I need to hoard all the happiness for myself. It's no, I can be one and spread this energy to all. Moving on, we are at the vibration of 310, willingness. So people who vibrate at the vibration of 310, willingness, these are people who will go the extra mile. These are people who, if they see a homeless person, they will buy them food. These are people who go the extra mile at work, who genuinely care about other people and will give them the shirt off their back. They're selfless, they're compassionate, and they are obviously extremely self-confident because of all of the societal feedback that they get. If they go give that homeless person some food and the guy's like, thank you, I really appreciate it, whatever, that is feeding their confidence. Their confidence is derived off of an internal sense that they're doing the right thing. Like I'm saying, life happens through me. This willingness, they're starting to tap into that higher power. And these are the kind of people that attract other people and can even impact other people's vibrations. Because if you think about a vibration of 310 compared to, 85% of the people below 200, that is, So like I'm saying, this number to the 10th power is +1. If you are vibrating at the calibration of 310, you are infinitely more conscious than these people. And regardless of these levels of consciousness, they can sense your good energy because it's abundant, it's floating, it's radiating your aura. You feel great. That's why people gravitate towards you, because it's light, it's good energy. These people really look at themselves and have the capacity to self-reflect and maintain a consistent positive attitude, full of enthusiasm and radiate. This is the vibration I aspire to be at or stay consistently at, because I feel like I've tapped into it a decent amount of the time, but willingness, just always being selfless, always bringing enthusiasm and bringing people up. 350 is an extremely important vibration. It is the vibration of acceptance. This is where the concept of forgiveness comes in, where I will not be hurt for my anger, I will be hurt by my anger. This is the the teachings of Buddha come in, and you're extremely quick to forgive, even if it's not warranted. You don't want negative energy within you. You've accepted. And I would like to note, the energy of acceptance is not the same as the energy of apathy. Like I said before, the energy of apathy is passive acceptance. I've accepted my fate, I have no control in it, I'm taking a backseat to my life. Whereas the acceptance at 350, I've accepted the conditions of life. I am not applying any inner resistance, I am not applying any anger, any resentment, and I'm willing, 310, and accepting of my conditions, and I'm going to do the most I'm putting my life on 100, I'm going full charge. These are the kind of people that are extremely obsessed with self-mastery and applying consistent discipline, because they understand that mastery and discipline are gateways to betterment and giving themselves and their life more control. These people will never blame individuals because they realize that the power is within, the kingdom is within. They have full accountability for their life and their existence, so therefore there's no need to blame other individuals. And these people are known to be extremely self-reflective and look themselves in the mirror completely. Another thing people are known for at the calibration of 350, acceptance, is their capacity to turn adversity into something good. They're always positive, relentlessly positive, regardless of their circumstances. These are people who make it through tough times and maintain their mindset and attitude. Moving on to the calibration and vibration at 400, which is reason. So people who calibrated at reason include Freud, Einstein, and several Supreme Court justices. These are people who are able to, take extremely complex and, a substantial amount of data and condense it into theories. They're basically really intelligent. And I will say that Dr. Hawkins notes in his book that some people get lost in reason, whereas, for example, like Einstein or whatever, or someone, they look at a tree and they're theorizing and they have formulas and numbers, and they kind of look at life as a numerical and sequential pattern versus understanding and internalizing like the true essence and beauty of life. Moving on to the calibration and vibration of 500, love. This is the kind of love that is extremely unconditional. It is not the normal societal love that we think of, that is like a love-hate cycle where, people are mad and then they have makeup sex. Like, that is not the love that we're talking about. This is an unconditional love of all things, all circumstances, and you just radiate love towards everything and anyone, regardless of who they are. You embody love. This is kind of where you start, getting into life happens as me. You're definitely tapping into a higher sense of consciousness. Your relationship with life is nurturing, forgiving, and supportive. You look at yourself as part of the ecosystem of life, and you just want to do what you can in your role, and you think that love is the answer. And obviously, as we know, love is an extremely truthful calibration. Anything above 200 represents, varying degrees of truth. As we're going up, we're ascending to truth, because we understand in our hearts that love and compassion is the way. Anger and violence are negative emotions. They're self-destructive. So they calibrate to the degrees of falsehood. And this is really, seen through your perception. Only 4% of people in the world are calibrated at the frequency and energy of love. Moving on to the calibration and vibration of 540 is joy. You can hit states of energy and vibration kind of randomly. So if you think about, if you've ever seen like a beautiful sunset and you just had an awesome day and you're just in bliss and you're just joyous and you just have this radiating energy of life, you have probably hit, 540. You're at joy, and you are, you're in your higher consciousness, you're connected to your spirit, your higher self. So like I said, people who embody joy are just joyous about everything. So their love is even deepened to a sense of joy, and joy is kind of like their state of being. People who are commonly embodied at the calibration of joy are, advanced spiritual teachers and healers. And at this point, when you are calibrated this highly, you have the capacity to heal people below you, because you're radiating at such a truthful vibration. And mind you, this is not recognized consciously. This is recognized subconsciously. So anyone, below here, if you encounter, you are just so holy to them. You're connected to your higher self. You're more and more connected with your higher self and divinity as you go on. So you have the capacity to heal others just by your aura alone and your words and your actions. You are so much more concerned, like I said, when you're at 200, maybe going to 400, you're concerned about the happiness of others. You're starting to embody selfless and compassion. But as you're ascending, and I would say 500, plus, you start caring about the good of society. You start caring about not only others, like I'm saying, but the good of society as a whole, which means you want to heal. And you do so by radiating at this high vibration of 540. I gotta be honest with you guys, like I wrote notes on this video, but as I'm recording this video and simply reviewing the scale of consciousness, it's resonating in me as truth. And I feel like my vibration has gotten higher since I'm recording these videos, and the access I have to certain thoughts have now increased. I'm gonna get into this in another video, but simply put, wherever you vibrate, you only have access to a certain amount of thoughts. So think about it like this. If you vibrate at, wherever this is, desire or anger or whatever it is, you only have access to hateful thoughts. So people in, the KKK or whatever, only have access to like nationalism, which is pride, calibrated at 175. They only have access to survival of themselves and superiority, and they can only perceive things as duality. They can only think, I am white, you are another race, I am better than you. It is not that they're bad people, it is that they are suffering from a low vibration, and a low state of mind. Whereas if they have maybe a psychedelic experience or a near-death experience, which is known to really increase your vibration, you can change your very thoughts, because now these people, if they are calibrating at 150 or desire or anger or fear, they can embody maybe 310, which is willingness. And maybe they're willing to help and make the world a better place. So the reason why I want to keep my vibration high, and the reason why I'm talking so fluidly now, is the fact that my vibration is higher and I have access to greater thoughts. When you take care of yourself, when you work out and you take a cold shower, your thoughts change. Your thoughts are not survival of the self. Your thoughts are not victim's mentality. Your thoughts are, how can I make other people better? And when you really are doing it and you're really meditating and you're really spiritual, you can even push your vibration to, how can I make the world better? How can I make society better? That's the thing. And we know, and watching this video, that we are supposed to embody truth. We're supposed to help the world and to help society. But the thing is, you're surrounded by people who are low vibrational and they only care about themselves. And it's not because they're bad people, it's because their vibration is low. So what you can do best is you have to isolate yourself, or at least get away from these energy vampires, these dream snatchers. And you can take if you can get your vibration and yourself where your thoughts are limitless, and you can get to 540 where you're at joy, you're going to radiate healing. You're going to radiate healing, and you have the capacity to now go back to these people and heal them yourself. The calibration of 600, peace. This is really when you start breaking into the life happens as me framework. Peace is really the introduction of self-transcendence and godlike consciousness. You stop identifying with yourself as the human body, and you look at yourself as a vessel of life itself. Life happens as me. People who calibrate at the vibration of peace commonly remove themselves from society as a whole. They stop seeing the value in money. Maybe they go study in monasteries. They just want to, their emotional state and how they feel is the most important thing to them. They no longer need status. They no longer need, the external pleasures of our materialistic world. They only are concerned with their emotions and their vibration and making the world a better place through their aura. If they don't separate from the modern world entirely, they take positions, in extreme service and they sense to heal. These are people who start nonprofits, and these are people who dedicate their lives to helping others in homeless shelters and things like that, because their purpose is the good of society. These people live in a constant state of flow and bliss, as if they live in abundance. They feel as if their energy, they feel as if everything flows, and they feel the intricacies of the world and connections. If you've ever, maybe you've been, almost going to sleep and you just have these crazy, thoughts and subconscious thoughts, and everything's just connecting and clicking, and you feel like you are so in line and in tune with everything. This is embodying the calibration and vibration 600 peace. Moving on to the final calibration and vibration of 700 plus, 700 to 1000 is enlightenment. So think about it here. We've gone from various degrees of force all the way up to very high supplies of power. Your attractor field, your aura has increased with all of this. So why is the Bible and why is Buddha so prevalent in our societies? It's because, and Abraham Lincoln and the Declaration of Independence, for example, the Declaration of Independence calibrated at 710 or like 700, something like that. It's because the Bible, the Quran and whatever, all these religious and spiritual, documents or whatever it is, are calibrated based on their truth. They speak such truth that they have the capacity to impact mankind. So if we think about Gandhi, for example, Gandhi was able to I don't know much about Gandhi, I'm gonna be honest with you. Gandhi was able to, hoard off the British or the invaders or whatever. I really should read more. But basically, Hawkins talks about it through peace. He was nonviolent, he was peaceful. And because he embodied such truthful inner principles, he is so famous today. It's because his vibration was so high that it transcends time. Gandhi identified himself as life himself. Life was lived as him. There is no identification with the body, and there is complete oneness and complete healing. Honestly, this is a state that is very godlike. It's like an avatar. And I'm trying my best to describe it, but I've definitely never hit, enlightenment. These are people like, extremely dedicated monks for an extremely, this is where people spend their whole lives trying to get here. These are people who quit their jobs or, are born in monasteries, and they're chasing and seeking and trying to align themselves with the vibration of enlightenment. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to make way more videos on power versus force and this concept of the map of consciousness. I encourage you guys to look into it. Get the book. Definitely get the book. The book was fantastic. It's actually my favorite book. And I want you guys to keep this in mind when you're having certain thoughts. When you're having thoughts of lust and sex and primal needs, you are vibrating at a negative energy. That is desire. You are wanting. You don't want to be vibrating at that. You want to be vibrating as high as you can so you can have access to these greater thoughts, the thoughts that are truthful. Seek truth.